All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We got an awesome show tonight. Um, I'm super pumped to be able to have my great friend, Mr. Terry Snell, on the show today. I'm sure a lot of you who know Terry know what he's been up to lately. And I tell you, it is inspiring, it's motivating, it's just all around awesome what this guy's doing. Bring him on right now. This guy got on a bicycle and rode across Canada, man. I'm telling you, like we're not talking just a couple hundred K, 7,000 plus K. Like Terry, what's the actual number? What's the digits? Let me hear it.
7253.1.
Wow,
Yeah, in 67 days.
67 days logging like 100. And I was that average like 120 K a day, something stupid like
About
that.
between 110 and 150 a day, yeah. So
Man,
5 to 8 hours generally. I think the biggest day was 220, and that was a lot of hours in the saddle. I was about as far as I could push, That was a tough one. Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm sure you could write the Kama Sutra of bike seat positions as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
you
man.
certainly learn to move around a little bit and kind of you spend a lot of time standing after about 3 or 4 hours. You get up out of the saddle a lot, stretch your muscles out, give your undercarriage a bit of rest there too, right?
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
but
Okay, so
you
I
get
kind of
used
just
to it.
jumped. I
Sure,
just
man.
jumped right into this, but
Yeah,
to anyone who's just tuning in and you don't know, now you know. Terry
yeah,
Snell riding across the country, raising money and awareness for Alzheimer's. Right. I'll let you
that's
tell the
right.
story of what motivated you to do that. But when you come on, guys, if you're watching, feel free to comment, ask some questions. We'll open the forum up and just feel free
Sure,
to
that'd be
comment
great.
away. And Terry, I'm sure will answer some questions for you. It'd be super killer. So go ahead, Terry.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
how did you get inspired to do this?
Well, I was a little over 2 years ago now. My family was starting to let me aware that my grandmother had fallen ill with Alzheimer's and early signs of or early onset dementia at that time.
Yeah.
And so I flew home for our mutual friend's wedding, Dan Wetlaw for there, and Nikki, and I managed to squeeze in a quick visit. I was only here for 4 or 5 days, but squeeze a quick visit in with my grandmother. And so I grabbed her out of the home and we went down to the beach and we had lunch and she had actually almost died right before that, before I showed up. So it was good timing that I was able to make it and she pulled through and it was all well and good.
Yeah.
But up until that point, my family were saying, there's signs and there's this and that. And I didn't see any of that. Not that I wasn't looking for it or I didn't want to, just for some reason that any time that we were around each other, um, she was fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this time I took her out for lunch and it was very apparent. At points she would forget who I was, or she was having just I could see that she was having a hard time, and the memory was failing. And
Yeah.
we were sitting at the train station in Godrich, and having lunch, and it was just an epiphany, light bulb moment. I was like, I wanted to do this 20 plus years ago when I was younger,
Right.
and never did do it,
But now you
and
had an
so now I
awesome
had a
why.
reason.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had fuel for the fire, right?
Hell
So
yeah.
from that moment on, it was planning. It was planning and training and working on sponsorship and getting money from people to help me out, because I mean it's obviously a pretty large expense.
Yeah,
Not working for
definitely.
all that time
Sure.
and materials and
Sure.
supplies and equipment and everything. So, and that's how it
Awesome.
happened, man. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
And I'm watching some of the comments come through, but I'm trying to listen to you as well. And I saw someone write like the Human Kindness and Generosity Project featuring Terry Snell, and it's so true, man. Because you take yourself away from your life to pour your guts and legs and sweat and tears into this project,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
I mean, it takes a toll on you too financially and whatnot. But that's what you're doing, though, man. You're
It,
giving.
it was worth it, and yeah, there's definitely a good bit of sacrifice, but I think right off the bat, what helped me get centered and stay centered was that I had to remove myself from the situation.
Yeah.
Doing even things like, television interview and I like to kind of keep to myself for the most part. I mean, me, I have a lot of friends and I know a lot of people, but I kind of lay back in the cut most of the time.
Right.
I'm not a front and center stage kind of cat.
Right.
So that was a little awkward for me at first, but once you remove yourself from it and realize why you're doing it,
Right.
then it's no longer difficult.
That's
You just
yeah,
kind of
buddy.
stay your course and do what you have to do.
A little technical difficulty there, throwing around
Yeah.
the old. Yeah, I mean, I guess when the thing that you're doing it for is bigger than yourself, you just put that aside, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Very
you just
cool.
kind of stay on that, and that gives you all the traction and momentum that you need to push through. And even on those tough days, where I was just like, man, what the hell am I doing? This is too much. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if I got the jam to get through this. And then I just think about where my grandmother is and where other people that I've known that have been in that scenario before, and that quiets that quells
Yeah,
that
man.
storm pretty fast.
Like you're pouring out love. Like that's what you're doing this for, right? And I
Yeah,
can
man.
only. I mean, we talked last night at your homecoming gathering, right? And
Yeah.
this thing is so much bigger than you,
Hmm.
than Gramsci, even bigger than Alzheimer. Like what you're really doing is you're showing people that anything that you put your mind to, you can achieve. Because I'm
Absolutely.
sure that there were times, man, in those first couple of days when your legs are pumping and burning and you're thinking, how can I continue on? And most people
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, for sure.
7,000K and you're 100 into it. How do you keep moving? What was it that kept you, that obviously your why is big enough that it keeps you motivated, but there must have been times where you
Sure.
didn't know if your body could handle it, man.
Well, I'm glad you touched on that, Mike. Like before I started, once I made it public, I had painted myself into that corner. It was happening. I'm a man of my word. It had to be done.
Yeah.
Um, and so, once there was the scope of it all. It was just like, what the hell am I doing? It's gigantic. It's so big. How could I possibly do this? And a lot of other people, they come up to me and they're like, I can never do that. And I'm like, you could. And I think the biggest element there was I had a customer of mine from the bike shop that I work at in Kelowna. He had rode all over Europe, not across Canada, but he's done some fairly, monumental tours himself. And
Right.
I just said, Ralph, like I'm scared, man. Like this is really big. I felt like I was fighting a giant, and and he said, you know what? Don't look at it like that. Don't look at the 7,000. Look at today. When you wake up today, look at today.
Yeah.
And once you break it down into segments, um, it wasn't really that hard. Like I would sit down and basically I'd look at the map and I was like, okay, here's my minimum stop. If I'm not feeling too heavy, or getting too heavy today, then I'll stop at this spot.
Yeah.
And this is my ultimate goal. Would be the next one. And then I got a tailwind or I just got a really good sleep or I needed to hash something out because a lot of emotions come up too.
Right. For sure, buddy.
Then I'd make another stop. So I had one of three choices as to where I was going to set camp, and I would gun for those basically, and every day. It was like being a 10-year-old kid all over again. Though you wake up, you ride your bike, and you go meet people, and make friends. Like
It's
that's all
pretty
we did
cool.
when we were kids. You rode your bike all day, and you went and made
Yep.
friends,
It's pretty cool.
and you meet people, and you get to stare into their life, and tell them why you're doing it. I didn't push it too hard.
Yep.
I let people aware, and if they were interested and wanted to delve a little further into it and donate, and that was fine. But
Yep.
I didn't want to be like the potion salesman or something.
Sure.
Like
Sure.
give me your money, that sort of thing. It was
Yeah.
just I let people work on their own compassion, and I found that I got a better response that way.
Well, just the awareness too. Like, I mean, people
That
can
was
put
huge.
a face to it. You felt Alzheimer. I haven't. So, but now that I know how it's affected your life, and I know you, and I know what you're doing here, it makes me want to, you know, care more. And that's really
good.
kind of
That's
what
awesome, man.
that's what you're doing, right? I mean, bringing the awareness, raising the money,
That
and
and
having people care
that
more.
is the money was a good part. I mean, obviously that was a focal point. Um, the awareness though was seemed to kind of take precedence over everything. It was huge. I had people contacting me that I'd never met before,
Yeah.
never spoken to. I didn't know them, and they're writing me, pouring out their personal stories, and thanking me for what I'm doing, and just, you know, that huge connection, and that was really humbling. But I have a lot of gratitude for that. You know, that was really big for me. That was a lot of heavy emotion
Sure.
involved in that, and it also proved to me that it was working, that the
Yeah.
conversation was being started, that people were
Yeah.
thinking about it, and that they were talking about it, and other people that were affected, you know, they were telling me that I was doing it, that you know, I was achieving what I set out to do.
People, I mean, you always want to do something. You always want to do something for a cause that you believe in, but man, oh man, like you went and you did something awesome. And I just know, yeah,
Yeah,
hey buddy, you're pretty humble about it. I mean, everyone who we know and you know, who I've talked to about what you've done, it's like they just can't get their head around it. It's very cool, man. It's very cool because you're like, for all intents, you're an average guy. It's not like you're a marathon runner or you've
sure.
liked to cross the country before. You just kind of, now mind you, you kick ass on a bike, so that kind of helps too, right?
Yeah, you know, I do focus a lot of time and effort on, you know, I work in the world of cycling. I used to race when I was younger, but I mean, there's nothing, you know, I could be wrong, and others might argue this, but I don't really think that there's anything that you could do to really prepare for this. You know, physically, you can't. Like, how do you train for that? How do you train for something that, you know, like 8 hours a day?
Well, I
Like,
was
if you
gonna
got to
say
work, you gotta
the
do all that other stuff
emotional,
too.
like the time that you're spending with yourself inside your own head when you're on this trip across our country.
Whew.
I mean, buddy, aside from the things that you saw with your two eyes, the things that happened inside your mind must have been incredible. You know, everything from the fear and doubt of finishing it to why you're
Sure,
doing it. I mean, you tell me, but your
everything,
life probably laid itself
everything.
out in front of you. You know.
It does, man. So many things bubble up to the surface that you weren't even aware that was still affecting you, or that you know, you'd forgotten about realistically, but it's still back there gnawing away at you, and and
Sure.
and and doing its little bit of damage and things like that. So I mean, I left a lot of that out on the road, and
Good for you.
I'm lucky that I was able to do that, because I mean, there's no running away from it. It's right
Yeah.
there in front of your face, and the
Yeah.
further you go, the further you delve into that mindset, and the more that stuff comes to the forefront for you. So you have to deal with it. I mean, I am
It's
a
got to be almost
significantly different
cleansing.
person. Absolutely, yeah, yeah. Like, I'm a very different person now than when I started. I feel this huge weight. You know, there's a lot of confidence that comes with it as well, because I mean, you faced your demons. You've wrestled the monsters, and you know, you put a lot of it to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of heavy emotion. I mean, certain times you just start crying. You don't even know what the hell for.
I
You
bet.
know, you're
I
like,
bet.
why am I? And then, but then you delve into it, and you figure it out. And you peel back the layers, and you work through it. You pedal through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Like you
mean,
said, though,
you, you,
there's
you
no
deal with it.
hiding from it. It's there. You're. It, I mean, you can push it to the back of your mind if you want again,
Yeah.
but here you are, the
I don't think you
truth.
can at that point. Yeah.
Nah,
It's
and why would
there.
you, man?
No, you know, we all do it. We all spend a lot of time running away from the things that give us fear,
Hey guys, I'm seeing
about
lots of people. Hey
ourselves.
Terry, I'm seeing lots of people chiming in here, and someone saying,
Uh-huh.
"Share this story, guys." Absolutely. This is one of the times
Yeah,
where
oh yeah.
I'm a big. I promote the sharing is caring, right? So the more you can share this,
sure,
the more
man.
it's going to touch people who are
Please
affected
do.
by it. There's people who are going to be watching this who don't even realize that a family member of theirs is going through the struggles of early onset Alzheimer's as well, right? And
There's over 500,000 people in Canada alone are affected right now, currently, with this disease. And so, I mean, really, that breaks down to millions of people are affected by it
yeah,
because all of those people have families,
yeah.
right?
If we can get like 15 or
it's
20
so
shares,
hard.
this will touch like over 1,000 people for sure. And that kind of
I really
that's
hope
what we
so.
want to do, right? I mean, yeah, spread the word, buddy.
I think we should be able to achieve that without a problem. You know, I've had a lot of supporters. A lot of people got behind me and really, you know, that also put a lot of fuel in the tank too, just to see how special it was for them. You know, again, I try not to be too big-headed about it, but yeah, you need that stoke
Yeah, man.
for sure. Yeah.
See, but you're a good guy, Terry. People like you. It's true,
Thanks,
man.
Mike.
People want it's
Yeah.
buddy. You're one of my friends from the early days, you know, and
Way back, man. Yeah.
way back. And you
Yeah.
know, sitting at the gathering last night, just talking to people. Nobody has a bad thing to say about Mr. Terry Snell. So when you go and put yourself out there to do something, no, man, I'm going to inflate your pumpkin a bit, but they're going to follow you.
Yeah.
They're going to get behind you in there. And obviously they have, because I mean, I see a lot of outpouring and support, which, you know, it's awesome.
It was a lot more than I expected. But, you know, and again, I mean, I get humbled by that. It was, you know, overwhelming at times, but it was very special. You know, like I said, it wasn't about me, but I get the fringe benefits.
Sure.
You know, I get respect and love and a lot of positive feedback and
Heck
I mean, everybody needs that. Yeah. And I lost over 30 pounds, which is
I was just going to say,
too, right?
when you said you left some of it out on the road and a big weight was lifted off you, I was
sure
thinking,
did.
And you said you didn't come back the same man. You look pretty good, my friend. You look pretty good. Okay,
Yeah,
so tell me.
Physically and mentally.
What? There must have been stuff that happened out there on the road that you probably can't talk about some of it, but tell me some stories. Like you're riding through some pretty crazy wilderness areas too. I mean, running into animals, running into any people that you know kind of freaked you out. Like what? Tell me some of the wild stories. What was your?
You know what? I didn't have any negative experiences with people.
Cool.
Short of, you know, a couple people tried to run me over or intentionally or unintentionally. Yeah, there was a couple you know, not very nice people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, like you shrug it off. You know, it's gone. By the time you realize it happened, it's over.
Maybe they weren't down with one of your riding
do?
suits. You had some pretty sexy riding suits out there, Terry.
Yeah, it could be. They didn't want to stare at my arse or something. I don't know. But yeah,
Any bears?
you know, I stopped. Well, I'll get to that. I stopped to take a picture of a fox.
Cool.
And I pulled over and I was getting my camera out of my backpack because I wanted a real picture, not just the cell phone. And as I stopped and started pulling it out, I'm like, ooh, he looks pretty emaciated. He's looking at me like I'm a snack, you know. So I just kind of put her back in the backpack and put the pack back on and kept on trucking.
Yeah.
No bears. We passed one coming down Apex Mountain, just outside of Penticton.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. We were doing like 85 kilometers or something an hour coming down that mountain. So the kid behind it, I met up with these two kids. I was riding with them, and the one, me and the taller one, Jacob Goog, we were gone. And Jacob Sendav, he was behind us. He's like, "You guys see that bear?" And we're like, "No, man, we were moving." But I got into New Brunswick, and you know, no thanks to Google Maps. If you're in the Maritimes, don't use Google Maps. Sorry, guys.
You were telling me about this.
They were. Oh goodness, it was fantastic for the rest of Canada, but once you got into the Maritimes, it was like Google was drunk or something. Yeah, go down this mountain trail, and I'm getting further and further away from my objective, and it's a sandy trail, and I'm just like, man, what the hell am I doing? Where am I? You know, I should have stuck to the road. And then no sooner that, I see this cub kind of run out on the path, and he's playing around, and he's looking at me, and he flops about and takes off into the bush.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Where's
okay,
mama?
well, I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind the cub, but where's mom, right? And I was like, kind of, hey, mama, you know, like I was calling out to see if I could get her to come out, and my heart's just pounding. And sitting on the trail, I'm in the middle of nowhere, anywhere near anyone.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what do I do? What do I do? You know, I've got this stare down with the trail, you know, a kilometer ahead of me, and
You get on your bike and you get out of there, man.
I got the hell out of there, man. I just didn't want her to catch me on the way by, you know, just to get pissed off because I was between her and her cub. But
yeah, true.
Man, I rode for 12 kilometers solid through the sand. I'm slipping all over the place. I'm tired. It was exhausting, but it wouldn't have caught me because she would have been slipping in my shed. Basically, I was gone, man. Yeah, I wasn't hanging around to find out. You know,
I guess
it was.
not.
Yeah, that was a frightening, you know, slightly frightening experience. But
Yep.
I got through it, and then as soon as I got to the next chunk of highway, I'm like, I'm not, you know, we're done, Google, we're breaking up.
Yeah.
And I found my way back to, you know, somewhat civilized area, and then everything was cool after that.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
didn't see any whales on the ferry, which was unfortunate. I was really hoping.
Oh yeah,
for that.
that'd be cool.
I've yet to see any. But yeah, man.
Have you been out east
pretty
before?
good. Mostly chipmunks. Pardon me?
Said you've been out east before, or is this your have you been out to
No.
the East Coast?
Once I left Montreal, that's every day was the furthest east I'd ever been.
Yep.
And realistically, once I left Oshawa or Toronto area, because I went along the Highway 2, it was all new territory. So that was fantastic, right? I mean, that's where the adventure really began for me, because I'd seen the rest of the country, drove it so many times.
Yep.
But then again, like I was saying last night, like I got to be where the country was born, where the blood was shed, where the lines were drawn. You know, I saw the real beginning, the fiber of our nation, and got to go through all of that, and that was extraordinary. Yeah, it was
Pretty
really
cool
to feel that history. 450-year-old villages and cities and stuff. It was pretty wild, considering Canada's only 151 years old, right? I think 151, 52, something like that. Anyways, 450-year-old villages. You know,
awesome.
That was pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Manitoba is probably the most friendly people in all of Canada. I give that to them. Yeah.
I was just gonna say,
Quebec, definitely a close second.
Very
People
cool.
of Quebec were fantastic. Bike paths, like paved bike path throughout the bushes all over the province, which was really, really nice. It was good to get away from traffic for a little while and just be close to nature and stuff too. Yeah.
So at night, where'd you stay? Like, did you hotel it? What'd you do?
Occasionally, you know, if I got rained out real bad, then I would have to dry my shoes and my gear and all that. So I would grab a hotel. Most people were like, "Oh, that's the luxury," and I'm like, honestly, I'd rather sleep. I brought a hammock,
cool,
with an underquilt. The underquilt is what, you know, stops you from freezing your arse off. And then I had a tarp that went over, 2 different tarps that went over top of it. Best sleep of my life, honestly. Like, you know, everybody's like, "Oh, you want to go to the hotel? You're spoiling yourself." I'm like, no, I'm doing this out of necessity. I would rather hang the hammock and sleep out in the bush. It was so much nicer. So mostly campgrounds.
Cool.
I wasn't like, you know, bushwhacking and just finding a spot. I usually find a campground, but a lot of the campgrounds were, you know, if you rolled up on a bike, they're like, "Oh, $10. You know, we got a rate for cyclists." Cool. Yeah, we got a rate for cyclists, and we got places for you. And they were super cool. Some of them were not so nice, and they charged too much for it. But most of the campgrounds were really awesome, good people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Julie Gray's saying, where was your favorite place to ride through?
Ooh, that's I think just following the whole
province,
Saint-Laurent.
and then what's that?
I just following the Saint Laurent was like the St. Lawrence River.
Oh yeah.
Incredible. Field, BC, one of the most beautiful places in Canada, I'd say. And I mean, Quebec City, you can't touch it. That place is
Cool.
incredible. There's nothing like it in all of Canada. And I mean, St. John's too, you know, that's a very different experience, but, you know, equally as amazing in its own right.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky in this country, eh? Like, I mean,
The diversity
what an
is
intimate
gigantic.
way that you have experienced our country. You know, like,
It's the best way to see any city, honestly.
Yeah.
Walking around, you know me, that's too slow, and you look kind of weird jumping just on your feet. You know, you're jumping around on a bike. It looks a lot better when you're on a bike. Yeah. But I mean, you get to see a lot more of the city, and you find yourself in places that you wouldn't, because, you know, it's a vehicle, so you're mobile and you're getting around, and you really get to, you know, catch all the corners of each city and experience each city. You know, for me personally, that's the best way. If you're going to travel, bring a bike with you.
Yeah, man.
Really simple. Even if it's even if you're just cruising and it's cruiser bike, bring a bike with you, and it's just so much more pleasant.
Yeah.
And
guys,
you know,
share Terry's story.
hard.
You guys chiming in.
Yeah,
yes,
please
Terry
do.
is a rock star. Jordy, Terry loves you, I'm sure too. He is a champ. But share his story. So share this video. You know, he's outlining what he did and what he did it for, and there's going to be links for, you know, donation page and all that kind of good stuff too. But share it, right? Because then it touches more people. That's the
please do, man.
whole idea.
Absolutely. And I mean, the more people we contact through these sorts of mediums, the more people that get engaged, and the more people that receive, you know, as much help as they can get, or at least the support.
Absolutely.
You know, that's a big one. Just, you know, spend more time with people, you know, whether they're ill or not. But yeah, I mean,
it's awesome you say that.
More time with those people. They need that. We need that. We all need that. That human contact is essential.
It's so awesome that you said that. My dog's getting older, right? We're thinking about getting a new little dog, and my wife is retelling a story. My wife is retelling a story to the kids about her dog growing up, and how only after it passed away did she kind of think, "Damn, I should have spent more time with that." We got to think that way about the people around us too, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, we got to hold people close. You just never know. We're only here for a flicker, and you just never know.
That's right.
So
and it's the only,
so when you get off this,
thing
people,
that's really valuable.
Reach out to people you love and let them know, right? Let them know you love them. Let them know you're thinking about them. It's awesome. And
go spend time.
It may sound corny.
Time with your grandparents.
Heck yes, absolutely, right?
You know, I find that oftentimes as people get older, people stop treating them like people. They start treating them like I don't know,
a burden.
A burden, yeah, or like children.
Yeah.
You know, and like they're the same. They're in here as long as they're still mentally well, anyways. But even still, you know, they feel the same way we do. I mean, I know that I don't feel any different now than I did 20 years ago. I look different, but you know,
sometimes
everything's still in here, and that's the biggest thing. You know, I heard a lyric from a song the other day, and it, while I was writing and while I was doing this, and it really struck a chord with me, and that was that memories are the only thing that we truly own. And I mean, that really you couldn't have said that any better. I mean, it's true. You can have anything stripped away from you. Your house can burn down. You can lose everything. All you have are your memories. And when you don't have that, I mean, man, that's pretty scary. So we need to make those memories.
More memories, absolutely, buddy.
Because I mean, that's all we really have in the end.
Yeah.
And that's what's important above money, above material assets. You know, is happiness and health and those good memories. Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. That's it.
I made a lot.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And you know, I could talk to you all day and all night, man, because I mean, your story is just awesome. I got so many more questions. We'll save it for another time, though. You know what I mean? Let's let you
definitely.
Hey, so
definitely do a follow up.
You told me that you're doing some racing coming up soon too, because I'm thinking.
Yeah, I got a mountain bike race next week.
No doubt.
I haven't raced in a few years, so that's going to be interesting. But
these suckers don't know what they're in for.
I'm gunning for a title here. Why not?
Think so. Right? I think
you gotta
so.
shoot for the stars. If you hit the moon, you're doing okay.
I love that. That's one of my favorite quotes. That's awesome. Listen, Terry Snell, thank you so much, man. The
Thank you,
man, the
Mike.
myth, the legend, the machine, whatever you want to call him, Telly Swim, all the above.
Yeah.
Terry, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been
Much
awesome.
love, brother.
Yeah, man,
Thank
for
you,
sure.
everybody, for joining.
And make sure you
Please
post
do share.
below, Terry. Please put the link down below for the page so that everyone can donate if you choose. But keep the message going. Share the videos, share the love, and hug people close to you guys. Take care.
And look out for the book. That'll be a little bit.
Yes. Hey,
Yeah,
the book is
I'll
coming
work
out.
on that.
You have people watching this, Terry, that can put you in the right path to get that book started. I'll introduce you to them right after we get off here. I'll send you some links.
Fantastic.
All right, man. Yeah, you take care.
Thanks, brother.
Okay, peace out, everybody. Take care.